Okay, so let's start animating some of these values. So I'm by no means a pyro expert, so I'm not going to do any super complicated stuff in this setup. It's just going to be some basic gas nodes to sort of drive our pyro simulation. So first, let's call this volume source our source. So I guess explosion source, something like that. Okay, so let's select this thing and let's animate some values. So let's set the fuel to 1 on the first frame. Let's source more fuel over the next couple of frames so it ramps up. So like explosion. Let's ramp it down to 0. And we get like a very cutesy little smoke puff. All right. And now let's start adding some micro solvers. So let's do some gas disturbance. So they actually changed the gas disturbance in Houdini 18. I was a little confused by this. Like if we enable editing of content on our pyro solver and dive in, there's actually an like if we go into the disturbance here, you can see this is a different disturbance, like it looks different. And there used to be a thing where you would go in here and then you would disturb a vector field and then you would change some stuff here and like do it on the length of the velocity. So that whole thing completely changed. So I was a little confused by the new one. It's a completely new one. So they rewritten it. I think they did it because, of course, there's a new pyro solver, the spar solver. Is this one? It uses sparse solving, so uses VDBs for solving, basically. So the benefit of that is, for example, if you have multiple smoke sources, let's say we have smoke source here and there, and it doesn't need to source all of the stuff in the center, which the normal one does need to do. But we only have one source, just a explosion here in the center. So in our case, it doesn't really matter that much. And also, we're not going to do a super high resolution simulation, like I pointed out, because we're going to need to go through flip. And that's also going to make the flip a lot heavier. So we're going to end up with a like about 350 to 400 by 400 by 400 pyro sim, which is not that high. And we cannot really upres it. Anyway, diverging a little bit. So they actually changed the disturbance. So in the old one, we needed to tell this to either work on a vector field or just a regular field. We don't need to do that in this one. We can say like, what do we want to disturb? So if we go to bindings, so the field that we're going to disturb is the velocity. So that means that it's going to sort of, disturb the velocity field so we don't get the super uniform look that we have now. Like right now we have the super uniform puffy thing. Don't really want that. So it's going to disturb that. The control field, we also want the velocity to control this. So that's going to be essentially the field. So if it's like how strong the velocity is will depend how much the field, like the velocity will get disturbed. And we have control here over the range. So here we have control over the strength. So let's up the reference and let's up the strength and let's just play and see what it does. And it doesn't do anything for some reason. So I'm just going to copy and paste my thing here. So that's the one for my original file. Right, so it should do more something like that. So let's see what we misconfigured here. Oh yeah. I need to remap and put it, invert it like that. And let's have a look. Yeah, so that was the issue. Okay, so essentially what we're just saying is, okay, we want to, in the beginning when velocity is low, we want to disturb it a lot. And then when the velocity gets softer, like lower, we don't want to disturb it at all. We're doing it here with the remap. We could also just, I guess, invert it like this, and it should probably do the same. But if we do it like this, and we have some control, like you could change your, like you have some control over how much it is. So because in the beginning our velocity is not really that high yet. So then we're gonna sort of disturb it more, and then when it comes to a hold, it's gonna be disturbed less. And the reference scale, just so if we put this lower, you can see we have it being disturbed less, and this will disturb it more and be somewhat noisy. If you do it in block mode, it's completely the opposite. Like if we make this, for example, big, you see then it sort of we get super big groups that are going to be disturbed. So now it's disturbing very large blocks. So it's essentially partitioning this thing in sort of blocks, and then it's going to disturb in these blocks. So if I make this super small, so we probably don't have the detail for it to be this small, but so you can see if we make it block based, and like right now, if we make it 0.1 over here, then we get somewhat the same. And if we do it continuous here, but yeah, I ended up using continuous. I hadn't used that before, so I just played around with that new mode. So I guess let's do. All right. So anyway, you know what this thing does. So I had a couple of that. We're gonna add more later, but let's first just play with some additional settings. Power solvers add some different things as well. So let's make a merge in here, and let's add some more micro solvers.